This video is sponsored by Wildlife Command Center Coffee. More about them at the end of the video. Hey everybody, it's me, John Ward, and I am back with another Dark Park film review. And this video, we are going to be looking at basically my love-hate relationship with Rob Zombie. We are going to be looking at Rob Zombie's Halloween and Rob Zombie's Halloween 2. And I say that I have a love-hate relationship with him because I love his music. White Zombie, Rob Zombie, you know, some albums are better than others, but I love the guy's music. Yeah, I really love his music. That's going to be a whole other video where I look at his different albums. But it's the films that I have a true love-hate relationship with. And that will be a whole other video. I want to look at each of his films individually, want to kind of divide them up and look at the Firefly family, do the three, do House of Thousand Corpses, Devil's Rejects, and Three from Hell, do that on one review. And then kind of look at the other ones maybe in like one or two separate videos, kind of really, I guess, kind of break down and dissect his other movies. But because, it's October, we're coming up on Halloween. So I thought I would kind of take a look at Halloween and Halloween 2. So to me, the perfect holiday slasher film that starts with someone who's a little kid, and then we see them grow up, and then they just go ballistic and start killing everybody, would be Silent Night, Deadly Night. I'm a huge fan of this series, and I think this is pretty much it. I mean, when we're looking at Billy and even Ricky from childhood, when we're, these guys get to see their father murdered, the mother raped and murdered. There's, of course, nuns, Mother Superior that are, that's beating the crap out of him. And then he's, stuck in the Santa Claus suit and goes insane. And we're seeing those different stages in his life. And they even do the same thing with Silent Night, Deadly Night Part 2, which I'm also a huge fan of. All of these films I'm going to look at in December. I'll do a video on all of them from this film all the way up to Silent Night, the remake. But to me, this is it. This is pretty much perfect. You're not going to get much better than this. So with that being said, looking at Rob Zombie's Halloween, where he does kind of the same thing, where we see Michael as a little kid, and then we see him grown up and kind of, and turned into the Shape. I have to agree with John Carpenter, where even though he did give his blessing to make the film, once he saw it, he felt that the whole childhood thing and showing Michael as the murderer and, when he's like a little kid, took away from the mystery of Michael Myers. And I agree with that. Now, this is it's the two-disc unrated two-disc unrated collector's edition of the film. And there's the back of it. And the inside. Even though I'm not a huge fan of these, and I just rewatched Halloween and Halloween 2, these are great discs, and I highly recommend picking them up. What you get with disc 1, I mean, there's a ton of stuff on here. Disc 1 is unrated director's cut with feature-length commentary by writer-director Rob Zombie, deleted scenes with optional commentary, deleted ending with optional commentary. Bloopers, the mini masks of Michael Myers, reimagining Halloween, meet the cast, casting sessions, Scout Taylor Compton scream test or scream test, theatrical trailer, and then you get the Blu-ray live, where if you're connected to the internet, you can learn trivia and stuff about the movie as it goes on. And then disc 2 is one of the best documentaries I've ever seen about filmmaking. It's Michael Lives, The Making of Halloween, a 4.5-hour documentary by Rob Zombie. Great documentary. Also, one thing is that I want to make clear. All of my complaints about parts 1 and 2, part 2, have to deal with the writing. I don't have an issue with the actors. I don't have an issue with the music. I don't have an issue with the editing. I don't have an issue really even with the directing to an extent. But it's really a lot of the writing. And this is, believe it or not, there's 3 versions of this film. So there's the version that was preview to audiences that got leaked online, which a lot of people, and including myself, believe that Rob Zombie leaked himself. And it's not a work print, but it's kind of a work print, and it's different. It's definitely different. And so there's that. I made sure to download that one. I think I still have a copy of, like, a burned copy of it. Then there's the theatrical cut, which was him removing stuff from the like preview, and he went and then did reshoots, and that ended up being the theatrical cut. And which, for example, one of the scenes that they went and shot was with Mickey Dolenz from the Monkees. And it's the scene where Dr. Loomis is buying the gun, and Mickey Dolenz is selling him and saying, oh, no, if you want to shoot somebody's head off, you got to use this gun. And which I was very happy about, knowing that, Rob Zombie is a Monkees fan, that he got Mickey Dolenz into the movie, and now he's part of the Halloween franchise. Then there's the third version, which is this. So this is a combination of that sneak preview work print combined with the theatrical cut, combined still with even more footage. So like the theater version was around, I want to say 90 minutes-ish. And then this is 2 hours. So in my opinion, this is the best version of all the Halloweens that Rob Zombie did. That's also a concern, that you have so many versions of this film. Now, with that being said, I'm a huge Blade Runner fan, and I like all the multiple versions of Blade Runner. I'm a big Apocalypse Now fan, and I like all the versions of Apocalypse Now, probably because those came out after they played theatrically. And it's just the directors, Oliver Stone and Ridley Scott, messing around with their movies. And that's fine with me. The original still exists. These are just other versions that you can enjoy. This worried me when it originally came out, because there was just so much reshooting and so much re-editing, that what was the problem? And I think that it shows. I think that one of the problems with it are the 3 girls. So, it's, of course, you got Laurie, Annie, and Linda. And once again, this has nothing to do with the actors. They're annoying. they're really annoying. And all the stuff they do is just annoying. Um, they're just not likable characters. That's my opinion. Sorry if people disagree with me. I'm a big Danielle Harris fan, and it was nice seeing her, back in Halloween. Um, but as Annie, but it was just one of those things where they're just annoying. They're just not. Yeah, I don't know. I think it's Rob Zombie maybe writing what he thinks a 16, 17-year-old high school girl would be like. And maybe the actresses saying, well, I don't know, this isn't really how we act. Or maybe they do. I don't know. I'm not and have never been like a 16 or 17-year-old girl, so I wouldn't know. But I don't know. They just come off as really annoying. One of the scenes that kind of annoys me is the scene where Lori is with her mother, Dee Wallace, and she has the bagels and she's putting them up like on her breast and stuff. And the mom is kind of, laughing, but offended and type of thing at the same time. It's too much. It's too much. So I don't know. Yeah, I just kind of find them to be just kind of annoying. The first 30 minutes roughly of this is Michael as a kid. And it's just, to me, just not necessary. Once again, I think it was done better in this. But it's all yelling. It's all swearing. It's all yelling out, I'm gonna skull fuck you, and screaming babies, and everybody's just kind of an asshole in it. The stepdad is an asshole, and he's got a weird thing for the stepdaughter, and the stepdaughter is kind of bitchy, and then her boyfriend's kind of a dick, and and then of course there's Angel or Lori, who just cries a lot because everybody's screaming and yelling. And the mother, Sherry Moon Zombie, she's probably the best of the characters, because at least she's nice. But even with her, why would you put up with this situation? Why are you, what is the deal with this? I mean, just go. Why did you marry this guy? It was just a dick to everybody. And obviously he wants to fuck your daughter. So, it's just really bizarre. Then there's the whole thing of, the mom, Sherry Moon Zombie, being a stripper who doesn't strip. She works at a strip club and doesn't take her clothes off. That's weird. I've always had an issue with that in films. Everything from low budget to big budget, that if you're going to have nudity or a sex scene or something like that, the actor or actress should be willing to take their clothes off. And because that's what happens if you're a stripper or prostitute, or the characters are having sex or whatever it is. So when we cut to the mom at the strip bar and like Love Hurts is playing, you get nothing. It's like, okay, maybe she's in like a really bad situation because she doesn't make a lot of money because guys aren't tipping her because she doesn't take her clothes off. Or are we not seeing her take her clothes off, but she does, we just don't see it? It really annoys me that when filmmakers do that. I know Rob Zombie likes to put Sherry Moon Zombie in his films, but maybe if you're going to have her play a stripper, have somebody else in that role, or don't make her a stripper, make her a waitress. And she works in like this shit diner where men disrespect her all the time. They're pinching her, slapping her butt, or they're making rude comments to her. And, something like that, where, she needs the money and the job. So she stays working as a waitress in this, in Haddonfield, because maybe there's just nothing else for her. But it seems like she could probably do better as a waitress than a stripper, if she's not taking her clothes off. So that really annoys me. Showing Michael killing a rat and basically just dissecting it with like a scalpel, to me, that's unnecessary. I mean, they always say like a red flag, like a warning sign for, like a serial killer is that they hurt animals. And at least, we didn't see the rat being killed. We just kind of see Michael's bloody hands and the scalpel. Once again, it's why. Even Michael is not likable. He's just not a likable kid. There's nothing that makes me root for him. And I don't think that it's a tragedy when he becomes Michael Myers. You have to feel something. There's got to be something there for, if you're going to do this whole span of his life, make him sympathetic in some sort of way, make me care, but it just doesn't, I don't know, it just doesn't work for me. Granted, the bully in school, who's the kid from Spy Games, I'm sorry, from Spy Kids. Yeah, okay, yeah, I don't have a problem with Michael killing him. He's worthless. He's a scumbag. He's probably just going to end up in prison anyways and wasting taxpayers' money. So, it's like, might as well just get rid of him. He's useless. So there's no problem with that. But like I said, I mean, it takes at least like 30 minutes just to get to Michael in the asylum. And then it's like another 30 minutes with him in the asylum. And then it's him as a kid and then him as the adult. And that's another thing that kind of bothers me is I think one of the things that's nice about Michael Myers is he's normal height. Maybe something like, 5'10" or something like that. Except for Don Shanks, who I like. I actually met him a long time ago at a Fangoria convention, actually for Halloween 5. Very nice guy, signed an autograph for me, like a picture of him as Michael Myers. So I like Don Shanks, but he's too tall. And you need somebody shorter. And that's where I think this Michael doesn't work. You don't need a behemoth. You don't need somebody who can, tip over a car. You don't need that type of thing. I mean, that was the whole idea with Michael. And even though there's some great scenes with him, like going through the Myers house and taking that, it's not like a 2x4, but it's a really long piece of wood that's bigger than a 2x4, and he's slamming it up into the ceiling as he's trying to get Laurie out. That's a great scene. And then when he picks up Laurie, at the end, and he holds her like this, which is very Universal monster. So it's very kind of like Frankenstein, Creature from Black Lagoon, Mummy, where the creature always picked up the woman who fainted and walks with them down the road. That scene I love. So there is some good stuff with Michael being such a big guy, but it kind of takes away from what Michael Myers is. And granted, I do know it is a Rob Zombie film. I am aware of that. So it's just one of those things where, I don't know. Dr. Loomis is okay in this. He's fine. Malcolm McDowell, you can't go wrong with that. Great actor. Clockwork Orange and many other things. It's nice to see that he's now more or less like a Rob Zombie regular. But I think that he's a great choice for Dr. Loomis. I don't think anybody in here was a bad choice. I think that he did a really good job with casting, even Tyler Mane, with being the big Michael Myers. I think that he did a good job as far as if you're going to go that route with how big Michael Myers is. Tyler Mane's a good choice. And the character of Loomis, I mean, at first it kind of seems like he wants to help Michael. Then maybe he realizes that there's money in this, so he writes the book. And then later he doesn't really seem to care. And then he realize, he searches for Michael kind of to put it into it. I don't really know if it's redeeming himself, but it's to put Michael down. It's 1 second. Wildlife coffee. I like what he did with Dr. Loomis. I thought that he did a pretty good job with that. Another big problem that I have with this is Annie. So, we saw Danielle Harris in, Halloween 4 and 5. We've all kind of grew up with her in a way, when she was just this little girl and she grew into a woman who's now in this. And she's very beautiful. And, it's just weird that if we're going to see her topless, that it was done in the way that it was, with her basically being murdered, like being stabbed to death and thrown around. It almost feels a little dirty, like if I think like Adam Green's, and I think it's Hatchet 2 that she's in, and there's the scene of her in the shower and she's naked and her arm is like covering her breasts and her legs are, in a certain way to where you don't see anything. It's like you're seeing, her butt, but she's not completely naked, like on screen. And that I thought was a lot better than what was done in here. It just seemed weird to me. That's all. And and here I am now saying, it's weird to see nudity with Annie, but and let's not do it. But I want to see nudity with, Michael's mom because she's a stripper. But I guess that's, a stripper. That's what they do. They take their clothes off. And then, but for Annie, since we also know this character, from the first film, the original John Carpenter Halloween, that it just comes off weird. It just comes off strange. Another thing would be when Michael kills everybody, when he kills everybody when he's a kid in that first like 30 minutes, there's like some weird thing with his sister where he's like kind of running his hand up and down her leg and the sister thinks it's the boyfriend. And it's like, I don't know, is there some sort of weird incest thing going on? And so that's weird. Rob Zombie seems to have this obsession with the 70s. And I guess, other directors do too, Tarantino, Oliver Stone. But it's, and one of the great things with both these films are the soundtrack. The music, like the bands that are in both films are really good. Rob Zombie definitely has a talent for picking out music. And then for the soundtrack, Tyler Bates did the score for both of these, which is very good. He makes it his own, but still keeping Carpenter's theme in there. So that's very important. You got to keep with that. But yet, like I said, make it your own. You just don't want to take something and just duplicate it, which is something I will say. I'm glad that Rob Zombie didn't just copy, John Carpenter's Halloween. And for all of us that have a problem with this, there is John Carpenter's Halloween. So that's the good thing. I've kind of gotten over this whole remake thing. And I realize that what happens when they do these remakes is there's always a better version of the original that comes out. So it's like the original just doesn't disappear. It's still there. So you've just got that option. You can, moan and groan and bitch on social media about remakes and stuff. But, it's the one nice thing about a remake is they always do something fancy with like a nice Blu-ray. with the original, which is done many times with Carpenter's, Halloween. What else? I like the scene at the end where Loomis confronts, Michael, and he's there with Laurie in the swimming pool. I thought that was nice because it's interesting because the original Halloween is, Michael is upstairs and Loomis comes up the steps and Laurie is crying and he shoots Michael and he goes off the deck and like falls to the ground. Well, he's up on the second floor. But in this, he's down. He is in a swimming pool, which is empty. It's just filled with leaves and dirt and everything. And it goes down. So there's this contrast between the original film being on like the second floor of a house, the original film, and then the remake being lower than even the ground. It's inside a pool. And so I like that. And I like that Laurie, we don't really see it. It doesn't, if you look really close at the very end where she shoots him in the head, Michael, I don't know if it's just the way that the camera is, but Michael's head is like here. And from the camera view, it looks like Laurie is shooting like that. She's not shooting, like that. She's more over here. And, but of course, it could just be the way that the camera's set up. So she might have shot him in the head or maybe not, but clearly in part two, there's no bullet hole. At least I didn't see one, and there's no blood or anything. So it looks like maybe she shot him just like next to his head. Let's see, what other stuff do I like here? Like I said, everybody in this, there was no complaints about anybody in here. Brad Dourif, great actor, as we know, known best, of course, as Chucky, does a great job as the sheriff. And it's a really good performance. William Forsythe is also, he's always good, but over the top in this, and I guess that's okay. Danielle Harris is good, and Scout, Taylor Compton, she's good too. They're just doing what they're told to do. And so, yeah, I mean, it's definitely worth, it's worth watching, it's worth owning, but it's just one of those things of, does Rob Zombie understand Halloween? Does he understand what Carpenter was doing? Does he understand the mythos of Michael Myers and the whole series? And I remember, and one of my issues that I have with Rob Zombie is you can see him being interviewed for like random documentaries that are on, slasher films and horror movies. And when Halloween is brought up and he's interviewed, he calls it, one of the greatest horror films ever made, if not like the best slasher film ever made. And he praises it. But in the 4.5 hour documentary, he talks about the flaws of the film and says it's like, it's not the greatest. And there's all these flaws and, plot holes and things like that. So he kind of does the exact opposite. So it's like, I don't know, dude, I'm not sure. And something that he points out in the original Halloween is, he said, so when Michael has the car, after he escapes from the asylum, he's driving and he sees that tow truck driver who just happens to be there, magically is there. And Michael kills the guy. That's where he takes like the mechanic's suit and then he drives off. And Rob Zombie said, well, we're gonna answer that type of thing. This is, it's very convenient that this tow truck guy just happened to be there. Well, in this, the way that Michael gets his, mechanic suit is he just happens to come across one of those places that washes like trucks, like big, like big semi trucks. And the driver of the truck, who's Ken Foree, gets out, who's a big guy, and goes into the bathroom to take a dump. And that's when Michael comes in, and they have the big fight. Michael kills him and puts on the mechanic suit, which fits perfectly. So aren't you kind of doing what John Carpenter did in the original film? I mean, if Michael made a left turn instead of a right turn, he might have not even come across this truck washing place. So it just happens to be that he comes across this truck wash place, and there just happens to be the driver of the truck is a big guy, and it just happens to be that the mechanic suit fits Michael perfectly. To me, that's a little hypocritical. And so it's stuff like that that bothers me with Rob Zombie. I don't know if it's a paycheck. I don't know if it's an act. I don't know if it's, I don't know, an honest actor. I don't know. I also really wasn't a huge fan of the mask thing, which you can see, right there. Oh, look, they're showing him a zombie on a strip pole, clothed. Yeah, I don't know about the mask thing. I mean, the mask that's in the original film just happens to be in the hardware store, that he picks out. I know that a lot of people have an issue with the mask from like film to film of why it's so different and stuff. For me, that's never been an issue, because each time that he would lose the mask, he would have to find another one, and that mask would be different. So it's never going to be that he's, just going to keep finding that same mask over and over and over again. In this, I think even in the documentary, Zombie brings up the mask, and he goes, well, we solved that problem with the mask because he comes back to the house and pulls the mask out of the floorboards. Well, the problem with that is, especially in like the 70s, if you're made this mask, the material that it's made out of would just rot. So if he's gone for like 15 years or whatever it is before he breaks out, this would be really decayed. This would probably not even exist. I know we made it look a little bit old. It's kind of a nitpick of mine, but it's just one of those things where if you're going to criticize the original film, then you need to really make sure that you're not making those same mistakes or different mistakes. Another thing that I find Rob Zombie to be a hypocrite about is he has been asked, will you ever do a remake? And he has said no. And the interviewer kind of pressed him on it, and he's like, no, I will never do a remake. Why would I want to do a remake? I could do something original. Might be misquoting a little bit, but and then he did this. So maybe he got a good paycheck out of it. Maybe Halloween shouldn't have been his thing. Maybe he should have done something else. He did write a script for a Crow film that takes place in the future. I think that could have been interesting. Get his take on that. But yeah, so I think this is, it's worth watching, especially this version. But yeah, I don't know. I'd just rather stick with the other one. Now for part 2. So we got here's the cover here. So a little bit about this. As you can see, it says unrated director's cut. With this one, there's 2 versions. There's the theatrical version, which is 90 minutes. And then there's this version, which is 2 hours. So you have 3 versions of this, 2 versions of this. I think on the DVD that has both Halloween and Halloween 2, they're both the theatrical cuts. Halloween 2 does say on top theatrical cut. I don't know about Halloween though. It might be the theatrical cut. If they're both 90 minutes, then they're the theatrical cut. I thought of picking those up and just having them because I'm a completist. But This is another one of those ones where, I mean, he basically added like 30 minutes to this to make it 2 hours. This is another one. 30 minutes was added to this. The theatrical version, I do not like. This I like. I know you guys are probably going to be like, what? What is he talking about? I actually like this better than Halloween. I actually think this is a better film. And I say this because he had to mimic John Carpenter to a certain point because people would be pissed off. Look at the original Prom Night to the remake. It has nothing to do with the original film. Nothing. Which is why I don't think people like it, and it's just kind of been forgotten. So he still had to stick with John Carpenter on this to a point. This is pure Rob Zombie. This is absolutely pure Rob Zombie. And they, I'm going to guess, let him do whatever he wanted, most likely. Because this is structured so bizarre that I really like it. It starts off with Lori walking down the street. She's got the gun in her hand. She's filled with blood. She's just all battered, just beaten. And that's when the sheriff finds her and takes the gun from her and takes her to the hospital. And she's screaming and everything in the hospital. She's all bloody and everything. And they're doing whatever they need to do on her. And it's a pretty brutal scene for people who don't like things like needles or fingernails being pulled out and stuff like that. And then she goes and she finds, Annie, who's unconscious. She's probably just medicated and sleeping. Now, this is where my problem comes in. Even though I do think the 20-minute dream sequence is completely unnecessary to the movie, I still like it. So once she's going down the hallway, we have the nurse who's going to take her back to her room, and then she has to leave. Lori doesn't know where the nurse is. The nurse pops out again. There's blood. She's screaming. Michael just destroys the nurse. I mean, just stabs the shit out of her. And then there's the chase. Lori sees everybody dead. There's that like huge dumpster filled with bodies. It's raining. She makes it out to like that little kind of like a security guard area. And, or maybe that's just like the building for people who's, they have to be checked when they enter and leave. But I think it's more of a security guard area. And then the guy shows up and, Michael ends up, and she's hiding and Michael ends up killing him. And then Michael goes to kill her. And then she wakes up, she screams. She's coming out of her dream. If this is a dream, it is an absolute waste of time. I don't know if the studio said, we want a little bit of the original Halloween 2 in this. So we want you to put like a hospital scene in here. We don't care how you do it, just do it. And so Rob Zombie was like, well, I didn't want to make part 2 anyways, kind of like John Carpenter. But if you're just going to hand it over to somebody else, I'll make it. And so he just said, I'll make it a dream. This could have been, he could have made this into actually something that happened that night, because it's never told, did this hospital massacre happen in real life? Like, did this happen on that same night that the first film took place? It's never brought up. And it should have been. If it's a dream, it's a waste of time. If it's not a dream and it happened, then we should have heard about it. And I think that it's a bad mistake. I think that it is a writing error. It's bad writing to not connect that scene. Because one, it's so long. If you're going to do a dream sequence, a couple minutes, not like 20 or more. So after that happens, Then we're in the sheriff's house, and there's Lori and Annie. And Lori is almost insufferable. If I thought that she was annoying in this one, I mean, it's like, I mean, it's so, I don't know. It's like, this is, I understand that she's been through a lot of trauma. And here's another thing. I love aftermath movies. I love films that take place after the first film. So that may be one of the reasons why I like this better. I enjoy that aftermath. Other films that do stuff like that would be like the original Westworld from the 70s. They did a sequel to that called Future World. And when they go into, when everything bad starts happening with Future World, they end up back at Westworld, and it's just like trashed. It's just garbage. And I really like that. The Jurassic Park, Jurassic World movies do the same thing when they return to like an abandoned park or the original park, and then we see what it now looks like with ivy growing around it and all that. I love these types of movies. And it's so, which is why it probably bothers me with the dream sequence so much. But Lori is so self-entitled. Once again, like I said, she does go through something horrible, but Annie is handling it so much better than she is, even though Annie does come off as a bitch. She comes off as an asshole, like when she talks to the deputy that's there to protect her later on. She's just not a nice person. But I like her character better. I think that she is handling the situation better than, I think that she's handling it more realistically, like in real life, if this was to happen. I have been involved in 2 head-on collisions and 1 rear ender. 2 cars of mine have been destroyed. I have a broken bone in my foot. I have a broken finger. I've had a broken arm. I don't know if you can see it, but there's a scar on there. It's probably hard to see, but there's a long scar that goes all the way down. So I understand. Obviously, it's not, I haven't been in a murder situation, but I get it when your brain gets messed up. It took me a long time to start driving again, especially after the second head-on collision, because it was first head-on collision, rear ender, then second head-on collision. And so there is a mindset that you get into, that when you get into your car, you think you're going to get into an accident. Instead of driving 70, you drive 50 on the freeway. You're not in the fast lane, you're in the slow lane. It's all psychological, and it really screws you up. I didn't want to go to LA for a long time. I didn't want to do all that, but I never acted like how Lori acts. And Annie's character, I think, is really good. I like Annie's character. I think that Danielle Harris does a very good job. And once again, in this, it's not the actors. It's the writing and the direction that they're given, because this selfishness, this self-entitlement that Lori has is so annoying, because except for a book being written, nobody gives a shit. Nobody cares that you're the sister of Michael Myers except for you. And she's really hard, to watch. Brad Dourif is great. I think that his performance in this is even better than the first one. I love what they did with Dr. Loomis, how now he is this, he's completely taking advantage of this situation. He's now written this other book, and nobody takes him seriously. They think that he's this total joke. He's now just seeing money. He just doesn't give a shit. But everybody criticizes him. I mean, think about it. He gets punked on by Weird Al Yankovic, on TV, and that's pretty funny. Once again, Rob Zombie doing great casting with stuff. The the whole thing of him looking at the picture of Loomis from the first film and him going, that's old Loomis, this is new Loomis, get that picture changed, is that it's definitely showing a character shift from the first film to the second film. And probably, Annie and Loomis are my two favorite characters. Loomis is probably my favorite character in this because it is such a huge shift from Dr. Loomis, from Donald Pleasant's Dr. Loomis, and from the original films. That it's interesting seeing what what Dr. Loomis is doing, on top of, just criticizing, the employee that's with him, the woman that's with him, like his helper or secretary, assistant, probably assistant would probably be best. And he's just making fun of her all the time. And then I like, once again, the shift that he has at the end. That's a character arc that he sees what's going on at the shack, and then he rushes to the shack, and Brad Dourif, the sheriff, doesn't want him there, so he tells him to get out, and Loomis sneaks in there anyways, because he feels now that this is his fault. He's caused this, and he has to redeem himself in some sort of way. So there are some really good things in this. Even with Annie's death, I think it's much more respectful in this. She is in a robe, and when she's, brutalized, even worse than the first movie, she's just thrown everywhere, almost like Michael's pissed that she didn't die, and this time he's going to make sure that she did, or that she does die. And that was a pretty brutal scene, but it was done a lot more respectful than in the first Halloween. Also, Brad Dourif finding, the sheriff finding Annie dead, and there's music, but and so there's no voices, and he is crying. He breaks down and just loses it. I actually teared up. I teared up in Halloween too. Believe it or not, it was such an emotional scene, and he's such a great actor. This is a guy who was in One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest and a lot of other good movies. That was really emotional, and Zombie did a great job directing that. Dourif did a great job acting in it, and it just worked. Other stuff that I like in it, Michael Myers as a homeless hippie that lives in a barn. I love Michael Myers with a beard. I love Michael Myers with the hoodie. And his butcher knife is like this long. I thought that was great. I thought the way that he made Michael Myers look, without the mask on, was great. I love that. And when it's like he's Michael Myers, and then he puts the mask on, and then he becomes the shape. So when he's walking through those fields, which I love, and all those aerial shots of just him walking through the woods, or the fields and things, and like the Hicks, the rednecks come up, and it's the two guys and the daughter in the truck, and they just beat the crap out of him, and then he puts the mask on, and then he just wipes them out. And the daughter even, apologizes, and he still kills her. It's the mask that changes him from Michael to the shape. And so that scene is really good. Michael, just with the hoodie and stuff on, the great scene, and I freaking love it, is when the little kid is trick-or-treating and goes up to Michael Myers, and he goes, are you a giant? Will you be my friend? And then I don't know who it is, the babysitter or mom, whoever it is, kind of takes the kid away, and which kind of shows that Michael's not going to kill a kid, and probably because he remembers, Angel or Lori, from when she was a baby. That's the only thing that, the mom and Angel were the only two things that Michael was ever nice to. And that's a great scene. So I think that there are a lot of great scenes in this. I don't even mind the whole white horse thing. I get what he was going with. And like I said, I think this is pure Rob Zombie. So he's just going to do whatever he wants. To me, this is kind of similar to like the Lords of Salem, which was just crazy, especially by the end. And when he introduces the white horse and he introduces the mother who's all in white, and then we got like the little kid Michael back, played by a different actor. And I don't really mind that so much, kind of seeing what's in Michael's head and what's motivating him and driving him. I like that, actually. I don't think that that's bad. There is that weird kind of Tim Burton Alice in Wonderland scene where there's the long table and Laurie is strapped to it. And there's like the people with the pumpkin heads and the skeleton that has like the Michael Myers mask. That seems very kind of Tim Burton-y to me. I mean, in a way, Rob Zombie is kind of like the horror version of Tim Burton. I mean, their stuff is definitely weird and trippy. You definitely know their movies when you see them. That stuff I even enjoyed. It's the stuff, Laurie freaking out isn't bad. I mean, I don't think it's horrible, but it's just kind of annoying. I like her finding the book. I like the bookstore thing. And then her finding the book and reading it and freaking out, and I like her relationship with Annie, that whenever she sees Annie, it reminds her of the first film. So she, kind of avoids Annie and has these new friends that she hangs out with. I like the scene where, speaking of the novel and stuff, or well, it's not a novel. It's a like a biography. It's nonfiction. The bookstore where Loomis is in there doing the autographs, and you got the crazy people, or the crazy guy that comes up to him, sign it like this, and he's like, okay, buddy, and just kind of hands it to him. And I love the dad showing up, Linda's dad, and showing him like the picture of Linda, and waving the gun around, which we find out later was not even loaded. But I love that scene. I think that that's a really good scene too, because I think it's real. I think that's something that could happen. It probably has, because this is somebody who is taking advantage of his daughter's death and making, a profit off of it. So that's really good. I mean, I just think that there's just good stuff in this. The band that's in the movie at the Halloween party, that is it on here? I think it's Captain Krieg and the Creatures, I want to say. I don't see it on here. Yeah, I believe that's the name of the band. I got to see them in concert. I've seen Rob Zombie in concert, I believe, 3 times. And so the first time I saw him in concert was for Sinister Urge. The second time I saw him was at Ozfest. And then the third time he was promoting Halloween 2. And the opening band was Captain Klieg. And they were really good. They performed the songs from the movie. And the cool thing was, at intermission, in between the warm-up band and Rob Zombie, they were just out in the lobby hanging out. And I went up and started talking to him. And I started talking to, Captain Klieg, the lead singer, telling him, I like you guys, I got the soundtrack, I've seen the movie, I hope you guys do more stuff. And he was really thankful. He's like, oh, thanks, man. That's really cool. It's nice to hear that from people. So I don't know if they were ever a legit band, or if they were just maybe musicians playing characters, because nothing else ever came out. There's this one album, and then they were in this movie, and that was kind of it, at least that I know of. But that was fun. That was really cool. And, and Zombie always does good concerts. His stuff is always fun, entertaining, lots of energy, so that's really good. Tyler Bates does the music again. Once again, Rob Zombie does a great job with like the bands that are in this. And it's always cool on his albums that normally he'll have songs on the albums that kind of match the movies when they come out. For a while, his CDs kind of matched the release date of the films. And I don't really think that's done so much anymore. But because I know we had, Three from Hell, and then the new album came out, but those were months apart from one another. But it's nice when he does that type of stuff. Yeah, and I think probably with the ending, let me show. So I don't know if I showed the back. There's the back. And inside, it's just a single disc. Oh, okay. So yeah, it's just a single disc, but you get a picture of Michael in there, which is cool. Let me see. Is that in the? I don't think it's in this one. No, it's just the clear, just the clear plastic in there. It's cool that they give you this picture of Michael in here. Yeah. And so I would recommend. Well, I was talking about the ending. So when Loomis goes into the shack, I like that we see from two different perspectives that Laurie is being held down by young Michael, and then Loomis is seeing, and there's nobody there. It's just her with her arms back, and she's just like, kind of thrashing on the ground, yelling, and he's like, "Get up, there's nobody there." And she's like, "I'm being held down, I can't." That I really liked, and I like that, Michael's just kind of standing there, and Loomis does try to talk to him. He does try to, talk him out of this whole thing. And Michael just takes him right out the window, and which in a way is a good thing. It's if Loomis knew that maybe he'd have to sacrifice himself for this, that he got him outside, and then that way the cops could shoot him. So, Michael stabs Loomis, who I'm guessing we're not getting a Rob Zombie Halloween 3, so he's dead. And then the cops shoot Michael, which is kind of weird. I mean, you would think they would almost take like a bazooka, like they did with Jason, to kill Michael in both these movies, because he's like I said, he's tipping over cars. So you think that probably more than just gunfire would have to take him down. And then Laurie comes out, and picks up the knife, and somebody just randomly shoots her, and a couple of the cops shoot her. And then we get the shot that's overhead, and we see the three bodies there. And I like that ending with Laurie at the bed, that she's now mentally in the asylum. And then the mom and the white horse come and say, it's time to go home. And she just gives kind of this smile, this, kind of a, evil smile or something. And which I guess she's going home. So I don't really know how they would make a part 3 if they did it. Michael could always live because he's Michael Myers, but we already thought Loomis was possibly dead from the first film because he freaking got his head crushed. But yeah, I don't, obviously we're not going to get one because we got the new ones that are out. So I do recommend these. I highly recommend the DVD, the Blu-rays of these. They sound great. They look great. I had my surround going on both of these because I did sit and watch them back to back, and it just sounded great. I had to turn down the volume. I live in an apartment, so I didn't want to get, piss off my neighbors. But yeah, if you're a completist and a Halloween fan, I would recommend both of these for your collection, especially the ones that are from, Scream Factory that come in like the big box set, because that even has the Halloween 6 producer's cut. Yeah, and this, I told you the special features on this. On the first one, on the second disc, or the second movie, we got deleted and alternate scenes, audition footage, makeup test footage, blooper reel. Oh, here. I was looking for it down in the credits, but yeah, Captain Klieg and the Night Creatures. I left out Night. So Captain Klieg and the Night Creatures music videos, commentary with writer-director Rob Zombie, and the Uncle Seymour Coffin's stand-up routines. He's the guy that was hosting the party. A couple other actresses that I thought were really good in this too. were Laurie's other friends, not Annie, but the other two that work with her at that kind of like music coffee store. That was great to see Howard Hess from WKRP. He was like the owner in there. And I liked her two friends. In a lot of the films, the friends might be annoying. Kind of like that the character that's in Halloween 5, that's the friend that's all, oh my God, she's like all over the place, filled with energy, and it's so obnoxious. Yeah, she's just horrible. But this one, the friends are actually pretty good. You get there's one with just the black hair that kind of dresses up like Frankenfurter from Rocky Horror, but we can't say Rocky Horror because of copyright. And so she was good, and I've seen her in a couple other things. And then there's the other friend that's the blonde with glasses, and she dresses up like another character from Rocky Horror, one with a top hat, has like the gold sparkle jacket and stuff. And then Laurie is dressed up like the maid from Rocky Horror, but we can't say Rocky Horror, copyrights. We just hint at it. And so I thought they were pretty good too. Yeah, I just think everybody was pretty solid in this too. Even the kid that played Michael, because the original actor grew up, like he became huge, and so they couldn't use him again. So they found a kid that was similar, and I thought that kid worked. Yeah, I just think everything is pretty solid in this one, and I know you guys probably think I'm crazy, but seeing this version of it, I think, yeah, I just think it's better than the original. Would I rather watch Halloween 2 over the other films? Maybe not, like the original series. Yeah, I don't think I would pick these over anything in the original series. Love part 1, love part 2. Halloween 3 is still, it's still a good movie, even though it doesn't have Michael. I like it, so I can always watch that. Halloween 4 is probably still my favorite of the sequels. Halloween 5 is a mess, but it's okay. I hate that Jamie is mute, and she does the screaming into the camera a lot. That I thought was annoying. Part 6, I'm actually a fan of part 6, both versions, theatrical and director's cut. I think that part 6 is better than part 5. Just would have been nice to have Danielle Harris in part 6, but I can understand why she didn't want to be in it. H2O I thought was good. I liked H2O. I'm one of the few people who liked Halloween Resurrection. Even if Busta Rhymes is in it, I still enjoyed it. I thought that it was fun. And the newest Halloween, that came out a few years ago, I think it's one of the best ones. I absolutely loved it, and it has one of the best Halloween scores. Just Carpenter just nailed it with that score. And that's all of them. Yeah, that's all of them. So that's, yeah. So I think I probably want to watch any of those over the 2 Rob Zombies. But if I had somebody over and they wanted to watch it because they hadn't seen them, I wouldn't say no. It's still Halloween. So, but all right. So I think that that pretty much wraps it up. And so yeah. Once again, go out, pick up your Blu-rays of the unrated collector's edition and the unrated director's cut. But also don't forget the one that I recommend. Silent Night, Deadly Night. And this is the uncut one too. There's the theatrical version and the unrated version in this one. And this is done by Scream Factory. So there's the back of this one too. It's got a ton of special features on it. So does the second one too. I'm hoping Scream Factory does part 3, but I doubt it. So, but yeah. All right. That should be it. And thank you for watching this. I really do appreciate it. Please, check out my sponsor, Wildlife Coffee there. There's their mug again. Got it right there. Take a little sip. And I'll be back this week with another one filmmaker, one film, and this is a long one. I didn't realize how long it was when we were recording it. It's a long one, but it's worth it. So definitely check that out. And then I should have up another video on probably Friday or Saturday. And this one is running, is a little late. So it's coming out on a Tuesday instead of a Monday. So I guess that's it. So thank you very much, everybody. Once again, take care, be safe, and I will talk to you soon. Bye. Hey, everybody. Thanks for hanging out after the video. And thank you for watching the very first Dark Park Films sponsored video. And who is that sponsor? Well, I've now learned if I do this with my hands, they go to the right area. There we go. That would be Wildlife Command Center Coffee, and you can purchase it right there. You can go to their website, which is buyWCC.com, and pick up their coffee. They have 2 blends, which I'm going to show you now. The first coffee is this one right here. This is a breakfast blend. It's 10 ounces, and it is a medium ground. And it does say, and it's breakfast, like I said, and this is what it says right here. It says, early bird can catch the worm. So there you go, a breakfast blend coffee that helps you catch the worm in the morning. And I really like this one. I'm more of a breakfast kind of blend coffee guy in the morning. So this one I really like. It has that little bit of oomph to it to kind of get you moving, get you up and out. And so I really enjoy this one, but that doesn't mean that I don't like the other one, which is this one right here. This is a dark roast. It is also 10 ounces, and both of these are $7.99 at their website. Pretty good price for 10 ounces worth of ground coffee. This one is, it's a little darker. So it's, I think it's better for drinking at night. Maybe if you're, writing a screenplay or if you're filming, this has got that oomph, that double punch to get you going. So this is one that I also recommend. I like both of these quite a bit, but I kind of do, the breakfast in the morning and then the dark more at night. So I recommend both of these quite a bit. And how did I find out about these two, these two coffees here? And how did I find out about Wildlife Command Center? Well, when I was working on Night of the Zomghouls, there was a box of coffee that was just sitting there filled with coffee. And we didn't know what to do with it. Like, whose is this? Who brought it? Why is it here? And so we just kept going to the store and buying coffee. And then one day I said, why don't we just get the coffee out of the box and use that instead of, wasting money on going to Smith's or whatever and picking up coffee. So we did. We did not realize that it was the Wildlife Command Center coffee and that it, was sponsoring the movie. And it was great coffee. Everybody loved it. And we just went right through it. By the last day of filming, this coffee was gone. And I went and found out, about Wildlife Command Center, asked if they would like to be a sponsor for Dark Park Films, for their coffee. As many of you know, I love coffee. I love coffee mugs. And so this was a perfect match. And Wildlife Command Center is great with animals. So they provide a great service for rescuing animals. So it's kind of that double whammy for me, where coffee, helping animals, you can't go wrong. And they were even cool enough to send me, get in there, a coffee mug, because they knew that I liked coffee mugs. And right now, I don't get that. A little bit. I'm going to go on the keyboard, but that's their dark blend, because I'm recording this at night. So I am actually drinking that while recording. Also, one thing that you can get at their website, which is cool, is you can get this. There you go, this pocket knife. which is $9.49. And this is pretty cool because it has their name on it. Wildlife Command Center, we can catch it. And this is what it looks like. Put that down there. There we go. Fully out. So you're getting like the bottle opener, you got the corkscrew, you got a screwdriver, you got a blade, and then you got this little hook thing that you can pop it into something that doesn't have a tab, and then the liquid or whatever in there will come out. So this is pretty cool. And I'm just going to keep mine in my car because you never know. You might need a pocket knife. So please support them. I'm going to have links down below, where you can, check out just the Wildlife Command Center. I'll also have a link for Wildlife Command Center coffee, and it will basically be for both these guys right here. And please support them. I support them. I think what they do is pretty awesome. And maybe this coffee will be on your set or in your kitchen. It will definitely be, on my set in my kitchen. I know that. So please, once again, I'm going to show you these. Please go to their website and pick up their coffee and make it part of your day or night, depending on which one you like. So that'll be about it. I really appreciate it. Thanks for hanging out with me. And yeah, so thank you. And once again, please support my channel. Please support the Wildlife Command Center. And I will catch you later. Bye.